The end of the argument with life. What would happen if you stopped arguing with life? I mean, put down all weapons and lowered your defenses, took off your armor and went naked. Would you become weak and at the mercy of life, useless in the face of the world and unable to take action? Why, yes, you would. If you believe the stories of the aggrandized ego, you definitely would. But the truth is that is not what happens. For what happens is more mysterious and divine than that. For what you discover is some innate intelligence. We may call it grace or wisdom or true nature. It cannot be learned, it can only be lived. It is not found in any books. It can only be personally discovered. It is not a gift or a special power for the chosen few. It is the heart and soul of us. It is our naturalness and innocence, as true as nature itself, but only discovered when you put down the argument again and again and again. You put down the weapons of judgment and attack, the ones you use against the world and yourself, again and again and again, and take off your heavy armor again and again and again, until nakedness becomes your natural way of living. It is not a destination. It's a path. It's walked, not found. So I don't really, in thinking about this becoming undivided, it's not a subject. It's everything we talk about, isn't it? Everything that Moda talks about, everything that all of my poetry is about, everything that we talk about is somehow remembering or pointing to remembering that we are undivided. We are whole, holistic, whole. We're not separated into, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. The amount of learning, the amount of conditioning that goes on for a human being when they enter and then become a part of, trained into becoming something or somebody in this world, is, from the eyes of a certain, at a certain point, completely insane. What we become is completely insane because we get so lost in our divisive nature, which is part of the inherentness of what we need in order to navigate the world. But we don't just do that. Oh no. I'm not just content with saying, well, I need my dividing mind to go left and go right. Otherwise, I don't know where I'm going. And I'm just like walking around in a crazy mess. Oh no. We, based on our conditioning, our education, our religion, our indoctrination, our experience, our wounds, our traumas, our denials, all of this stuff, bring all of that to bear on our divisive nature. And we take the world, we take our experience, and we really begin the amazing task of dividing it up into that which we like, that which we don't like, that which is good, that which is bad, that which is right, that which is wrong. On and on and on and on we go. We use it mercilessly. And I mean, it's not, it might seem as we talk about it, that it's just a small thing and it doesn't really matter. But in the search for something that's true within, this mechanism, this unconscious mechanism, you know, it has to be met. It has to be seen. And when we see it in ourselves, we see it in the world. When we see it in the world, we see it in ourselves. And actually, you know, it destroys everything. The realization of the nature of unconscious dividing, it actually shatters us potentially and asks a million questions. What do I give? What am I giving the main one being, what am I giving my allegiance to here? Is it to my belief system, which is, you know, which I stand by like this, or which is a little bit precarious? Or is it to other people's belief systems? Is it to other people's opinions? You know, how much authority have I got here? As a human being, it's a good question to ask, especially in our decaying, and to my mind anyway, decaying kind of morally, ethically, politically, medically, on every level, decaying kind of world that we're in. You know, this question is a fundamental question that's actually been asked by every mystic and every existentialist throughout the ages. Every civilization is either growing or decaying, and every country is going through its shadow time and its glory days. I'm reading so many books about the hideousness of places in the world that have come undone, seemingly out of nowhere. Countries unraveled in a moment. And we think our world is so stable, and we think our country is so stable. There is no stability. It's not like that. So the mystics in the, you know, in the Sufi world, or the Indian world, or the Persian, or, you know, all of these are in the Greek Empire. Who am I? Who am I? What am I? What is this? What is the nature of this existence? What is true to me, and what is bred into me through the conditioning that I happen to be born into? Does it have anything to do with me? Does it speak truth to me? Or am I just, have I just arrived here as if by accident? As if by accident. Happen to be born into this place, this time, as an individuation. How to make sense of it? These are beautiful questions that aren't asked in the regular discourse of life, because we've been so conditioned and we are so habituated to become somebody. I heard Alan Watts, you know, 60s, amazing kind of Zen teacher of crazy wisdom, you know, describing the movement of being born into systems, being born into this world that we find ourselves in, and how it's a setup for us to actually keep on becoming something. Yeah, we go to school, we go to college, we get our training, we go to this, we go to medical school or lawyer school, or we don't, or we, you know, becoming somebody. And everything supports that becoming somebody-ness. Until we get to the ripe old age of 65 or 70 or something like that, when we see the carrot of retirement. You can enjoy life. You get to the point where you can enjoy life and realize you don't know what to do with it, because you've been so trained to become something that you don't know how to fall into the nothingness of the existential abyss that is the true nature of life. And this has a lot to do with the divided self, because the divided self is almost well trained to exist in the world. this dividingness. But it's not really satisfying, because unless we are rooted in something deeper than the divided mind, the divided self, rooted in something deeper, then we chase illusions, we chase things, and suffer the consequences of being at the mercy of life. That's the ego self believes it to be for itself to be at the mercy of life, and cries a great scream of woe because of that. It kind of, hates that, because it sees being at the mercy of life as some really, really terrible thing, because the ego self is, hasn't really got any other benchmark. It hasn't got any other depth. Maybe with some reading, it can kind of understand a little bit of a deeper framework. But in order to transcend or descend from a feeling of being at the mercy of life, which creates conflict, just creates inner conflict, and that inner conflict creates outer conflict, something must be surrendered. To go from being at the mercy of life to being at the grace of life is a transition that involves a deep, deep, deep experience, a deep existential journey of surrendering the ego self that says, no, I'm at the mercy of life and I've either got to survive or I hate it so much I'm getting out. Or the addictive mechanism, such as it is, it's driven from the same place of being at the mercy of life. It's all about control. It's all about control. And to go from being at the mercy of life to being at the grace of life, which means that I am life. Life is this. Somehow to see that there's no victim here of life. Neither is there the great controller, but there's the flower, the one who flows. The one who flows with life, because life is this, because I am life. Life has never been separate from me. I've always been in the flow of life. I just got hoodwinked. I just got tricked. I just got lost. That's all. That's why it's, so much of this spirituality is a bit of a nonsense, because it puts something up ahead, some magic place where when I get to that magic place, because I've solved all the riddles and the problems and the understandings, that everything will then be all right. But actually, it's not, because it's still applying the same mechanism of the being at the mercy of life. We're not at the mercy of anything. Events happen, stuff happens. Some of it is in our control, some of it is not in our control, period. To fall into that, knowing that this is just an outpouring and an inpouring all the time is a form of grace. That's why I said surrender the divider. Surrender the divider. There's no destination but this. The beauty of realizing, I felt, which is why I speak to it a lot, the beauty of realizing that it's a path, not a destination, is a relief. It doesn't let us off the hook. It doesn't let us off the hook. It doesn't mean, oh, well, there's no destination, so who cares? You might as well just do whatever and just bumble along in life. Well, to a certain extent, that's kind of preferable in a way. But to be so devoted to staying here we go again, Kavi, stay here. It's all the stay here message. To be so devoted that even when we move away, here I go, I'm moving into division. I do it. There is no grand human being here. I'm just more honest than anybody else. You move towards division. I like that and I don't like that. I wish they weren't doing this and I wish this didn't happen. And I'm going to have a bit of an argument with it. And then bam, I realize that here I go, here I go, here I go. And I just come back and say, you know, I don't know. The only thing I can do is be here and be as honest as possible from a deeper and deeper and deeper place, and not give my allegiance to the opinionated Kavi. Opinions are great. I've said before, I've got loads of them. But so what? Beliefs, I've got hundreds of them. So what? So what? Can we meet to meet each other deeper? And that's the message. That's what I really want to say, because there is a wave happening, an energetic wave that is sweeping through our world, cleansing, cleaning, destroying, creating. And we're on the tail spin of that. The tailspin of a dissolution of a wave that has lasted 2,000 or 3,000 years. Who knows how long? The time of the self, I would call it. Civilization of the self. And it's done really miraculous things. And we have grown as a species. We've grown, but we still haven't attended to some fundamentals, like taking fucking care of each other. So yes, we made some beautiful developments, but we, in the process, became as selfish as hell. And maybe that's taught us that now we need to attend to that selfishness. Maybe we need to attend to that selfishness and start taking care and recognizing ourselves. Despite what Elon Musk says and Jeff Bezos, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going to Mars. There's no oxygen on Mars. We're not going anywhere. We're here. We're stuck with each other until some terrible calamity might happen to us. And then who knows? So, you know, there is an opportunity as a wave, you know, propels this natural movement for us to align with the natural movement and to start recognizing ourselves in each other, turning attention to those who need help. All of us. All of us. What an amazing experience life is. What a miraculous experience life is when we allow ourselves the opportunity to remember what a miracle it is, and not just get lost in the argument or the manipulation of division. That's a good one for us. So I was only going to talk for a couple of minutes. I didn't really mean to take up much of your time, but